Okay, he's in. He's doing it. He's running for president. Trump made his big announcement last night at Mar-a-Lago. And, Debbie and I were invited, but we weren't there. I had the podcast. I had my locals Q&A, which is a live back and forth. Very interesting. A lot of it focused on this topic and also on midterm results, where we go forward. And then Debbie and I were like, hey, Trump is announcing right now. Let's go watch. So Danielle and Brandon were in the audience at Mar-a-Lago, but we were in our media room watching. And of course, it was a little bit of deja vu. We know that room. We know that atmosphere. We were kind of scrolling through the audience to see if there were people we recognized, and there were some. And yet, as Trump was talking, Debbie was like, man, this guy, he's well into his 70s, and why does he do it? What's motivating him? He gets so much attack, and the attacks are so vicious, and they're not going to stop. And sure enough, in fact, this morning, I look on social media and look at this. This is from NPR. Breaking. This is the headline. Donald Trump, who tried to overthrow the results of the 2020 presidential election and inspired a deadly riot at the Capitol in a desperate attempt to keep himself in power, has filed to run for president again in 2024. That's the headline. And it just shows you really what clowns these people in the media are. They're not even pretending to be neutral or unbiased. I mean, you could think of it. You could rewrite that headline like this. In fact, this is Bruce Porter kind of quote tweeting it, and he rewrites the headline. Breaking. President Donald Trump, who is widely believed to have won 2020 election that was plagued with unverifiable mail-in ballots, untrustworthy electronic voting machines, and unexplained vote counting stoppage simultaneous across multiple states, has filed to run for president. Think of it. If conservatives dominated the media, they could do this. This would be the kind of, and the point is not that this is a legitimate headline, but this is parodying the stupid headline coming from NPR, which is basically now a national joke, at least in terms of doing any kind of journalism. But back to Trump, Debbie's point is, a normal person would retreat from the field and be like, I've got a great life. Mar-a-Lago's a lot nicer than the White House. Why do I need the headache? What is Trump's motivation? Is it just that Trump is like, he loves being president and he wants to be president again? It's just fun. Is it that, is it a vindication? You know what? I lost the trophy last time. I was unjustly deprived of it. I need to win again just to show and vindicate myself. Is that it? Is it just simple patriotism? Trump is like, you know what? I love the country. And even though I could be sitting on a beach somewhere and just, sipping a cocktail, I'm going to do this because I honestly believe I can make the country better. Human motives are often hard to separate out. But I think the third motive is very clearly present, the latest motive. The motive of patriotism is driving this man. The timing. There are Republicans who think this was, in a way, hasty or ill-timed. Some sort of slyly suggest, well, maybe he's doing it so that they can't file any charges against him. I think that Trump's motivation is actually pretty clear. And it is to get in early, let people know he's running, and you may say, clear the field. Clear the field. Now, of course, when Trump ran in 2016, it was a densely populated field. You remember all those guys standing on the podium. What were there, like 12 of them, honey? Was this 15? A bunch of Republican candidates, all kind of 17, Debbie says. Yeah. And then Trump kind of just emerged. And in this case, it's not going to be like that. In fact, we sometimes talk about people who want to run for president and really shouldn't. And I say shouldn't because they're not serious candidates. They would be just absolutely decimated. So, there may be something in people's ego that goes, I want to run for president, or I want to increase my name visibility by running for president, or I want to offer an alternative to, Trumpism. And the only person really who is mentioned as a serious alternative to Trump is, of course, Ron DeSantis. And again, we have to wait and see how DeSantis is thinking about all this. After all, he's just been reelected governor of Florida. And so whether he is going to run, to me, is not as obvious as some people think. But I think in a way Trump is saying to DeSantis and to others, I'm getting in early because I'm going to try and dominate the field so that no one can really effectively run against me. And now by itself, some people are saying, and I've seen some of this out there, that that Trump needs to make room for the next generation. The old line is to make room for the younger lions. And I don't think anything that Trump is doing contradicts that, because Trump could easily say in his own defense, say, listen, you know what? I have a right to run for a second term. Bush served a second term. Reagan served a second term. Clinton served a second term. Obama served a second term. My second term would obviously not be sequential, but nevertheless, this is my right. And all the other guys who want to kind of come up in the wake of the MAGA movement or Trumpism, they're going to have their chance to do that. It's not as if DeSantis is like in his 80s and won't have a chance to run later. So I think Trump's point is that this is his time. And on that basis, he's jumped into the ring kind of to let everybody know, I'm here, I'm doing this.